The lights go out, the crowd holds its breath, and one single lantern flickers in the middle of the WrestleMania stage. What if that moment isn't just nostalgia, but the beginning of the most emotional storyline WWE has ever dared to tell? Because right now, deep inside WWE's creative universe, a terrifying, beautiful, and heartbreaking idea is quietly taking shape. And if it happens, it could change everything we thought we knew about legacy, grief, and the power of storytelling in. Welcome back, Wrestling News WWE. Professional Wrestling. Uncle Howdy might be about to bring the Fiend back at WrestleMania 42. Not Bray Wyatt, not a cheap imitation, not a tribute video, but the character itself, reborn, resurrected, reimagined, and placed directly into the hands of the one man who understands it better than anyone alive today. Uncle Howdy, before you dismiss this as fantasy booking, stay with me because the pieces are already on the board. WWE has been laying the foundation in plain sight, and most fans haven't even realized it yet. The Wyatt Sicks are no longer just a spooky mid-card faction. They're champions. They're dominant. They're methodical. And most importantly, they're being treated with long-term storytelling care that WWE usually reserves for its biggest acts. Uncle Howdy and his horror stable have owned Friday Night SmackDown's tag team division for over a year. That alone is not an accident. WWE doesn't keep a supernatural-themed faction on top for this long unless there's a bigger destination waiting down the road. And then there's Solo Sikoa, the man who doesn't just want to win. The man who wants to take, the man who wants to break things that matter. When Solo crossed the line and stole Bray Wyatt's signature lantern, that wasn't just heat. That wasn't just a prop theft angle. That was symbolic. That was WWE telling a story about legacy being violated, about sacred ground being disrespected, about grief being weaponized. You don't touch that lantern. You don't touch that lantern unless something massive is coming. And that's where WrestleMania 42 enters the conversation. Because WrestleMania is not just a show. It's WWE's emotional climax machine. It's where stories don't just end. They transform. Imagine the scene. Uncle Howdy stands across from Solo Sikoa. The tension is suffocating. The lantern is placed between them. The crowd knows this isn't just a match. This is personal. This is spiritual. This is mythic. And then it happens. The lights cut out. That low distorted sound creeps through the stadium speakers. Not the exact Fiend theme. Not yet. Something slower. Something heavier. Something unfamiliar. When the lights come back, Uncle Howdy is gone. In his place stands the Fiend. Not Bray Wyatt. Not the man, the entity, the mask, the presence, the posture, the unsettling stillness. The crowd doesn't scream. They don't chant. They don't move. They freeze. Because for the first time since Bray's passing, WWE isn't just honoring him. They're continuing his story. This is where the controversy begins. This is where the internet would explode. This is where fans would divide into camps. Is it respectful? Is it too much? Is it brilliant? Is it wrong? But WWE doesn't operate in black and white anymore. They operate in emotional gray zones. And this is exactly the kind of bold, risky, narrative-driven move that modern WWE under Triple H has been flirting with for years. Uncle Howdy isn't a random successor. He isn't some outsider trying to capitalize on a legacy. He is part of the Wyatt mythos. He is part of the visual language. He is part of the storytelling DNA. And more importantly, he has already been presented as a different side of the same nightmare. The Wyatt Sicks aren't just henchmen. They're manifestations. They're fragments of something bigger, something unfinished. Bray Wyatt's universe was never meant to end the way it did. It was cut short. And WWE knows it. That lantern theft by Solo Sikoa wasn't. Sikoa wasn't about a feud. It was about a wound being reopened. Solo represents destruction, chaos, disrespect. Uncle Howdy represents memory, trauma, legacy, and the Fiend represents vengeance. This isn't just wrestling. This is psychological horror storytelling wrapped in a sports entertainment shell. And WrestleMania 42 is the only stage big enough to carry that emotional weight. But here's the real twist. What if Uncle Howdy doesn't just dress as the Fiend? What if he becomes him? What if WWE doesn't present this as cosplay or tribute, but as a transformation? What if the story is that the Fiend was never just Bray Wyatt? What if the Fiend is an entity that chooses hosts? That would instantly solve the moral dilemma. It wouldn't be replacing Bray. It would be continuing the myth. The Fiend as a curse, a demon, a manifestation of pain that moves from soul to soul. That is exactly the kind of supernatural Lord Bray Wyatt was building before everything stopped. And Uncle Howdy is the only character who could believably carry that torch. The match itself wouldn't even need to be a technical classic. It would need to be a spectacle. Slow, violent, symbolic. Solo Sikoa would dominate early. He would mock. He would laugh. He would use the lantern as a weapon. He would push every button. And then the Fiend would rise. No selling. Head tilts. That slow walk forward, that suffocating presence, not as nostalgia, as revenge. And when the Fiend pins Solo Sikoa in the middle of WrestleMania 42, the story wouldn't be about winning a match. It would be about closing a chapter, about telling fans that Bray Wyatt's world didn't die with him. It evolved. Now, let's be clear. This is speculative. WWE has not confirmed anything. There are no leaks, no insider reports, no official hints. But WWE doesn't do coincidence angles at this level. The lantern theft, the long title reign, the serious tone of the feud, the positioning of Uncle Howdy as a leader, not a side character. These are not random choices. They're seeds. And WWE has become very good at planting seeds months, even years in advance. Look at how long they built the bloodline. Look at how carefully they rebuilt Cody Rhodes. Look at how they handled The Undertaker's final story. They understand legacy storytelling now. And Bray Wyatt's legacy is too powerful to just fade away. The Fiend was one of the most recognizable wrestling characters of the modern era. Love it or hate it, it sold merchandise. It moved ratings, created unforgettable moments. WWE doesn't abandon assets like that forever. They recontextualize them, reimagine them, reintroduce them when the time is right. And WrestleMania 42 feels like that time because it wouldn't just be a surprise. It would be a statement. A statement that WWE is willing to take creative risks again. A statement that long-term storytelling matters. A statement that wrestling can still make you feel something real. Not just excitement, not just hype, but grief, closure, fear, hope. And that's what makes this angle so dangerous and so brilliant at the same time. If they get it wrong, it could feel exploitative. If they get it right, it could be one of the most talked about WrestleMania moments in history. And that's the kind of gamble WWE hasn't taken in years. So now I want to hear from you. Is bringing the Fiend back through Uncle Howdy a respectful continuation of Bray Wyatt's legacy or a line WWE should never cross? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments because this debate is just getting started. And if WWE really is building toward this moment, remember where you heard it first. Wrestling News WWE.